What is going on, fam? GoofyRhexxi here, and hope everybody's doing well. And we are here finally at the moment. We're doing the final update for the beginner series. So I know some of you guys have been following this now since January of this year, January 2021. We started off a beginner series, but we've kind of done all the things that I feel like we should do at this point in time on the account. So kind of just going to do a quick wrap up here, talking about, going over a quick summary. Why did we start doing this in the first place, right? Our successes on the account, the lessons that we've learned, and then we're also going to talk about some of the next steps as well. We're going to go through sort of like where we are for TCP campaigns, what comps did we use, and like I said, what's going to be the next steps here for this beginner account. But let's jump into it, guys. So first and foremost, we are still at level 72 right now. That hasn't changed. It's been sort of a grind since the very beginning of this account. When we started back in January, we have been playing it relatively casually. I already have my main account. We're pretty competitive there with a lot of raids and war and all that stuff. And of course, these blitz releases, they just really haven't had the time to log in more than probably once a day. And there have been some days where I probably just haven't logged in at all. But that's what happens when you play an account casually. So you kind of tend to progress a little bit slower. So we've been doing this now for about 8 months. Level 72 in terms of TCP, we're currently at 1.769 TCP, and as you can see, this is currently our arena team, which is going to be changing on the account soon, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the next steps of what we're going to be doing here on this beginner account. But like I said, let's talk about the reason why I started this account in the first place. I did a beginner's farming guide back in January 2021 of this year and wanted to do an account or actually go through what I was telling or recommending for other players to do. But so much has changed since then. There were a lot of characters that were not farmable. We have a new legendaries in Jubilee and Adam Warlock. Electro wasn't available in the Blitz store yet. Swarm wasn't available in the arena store. Characters like Zemo weren't in the raid store yet. So a lot of things have changed, and we've pivoted quite a bit from some of the things that we talked about in that early beginner's farming guide. And of course, I've kind of been keeping up to date with some new updated videos on saying things like, hey, open up blitz orbs, open up raid orbs, don't target farm in those stores. Actually grab Zemo first, get him unlocked before you actually start opening up the rest of the raid orbs so that he can have that impact on your roster. So a lot of things have changed since then. Now, in regards to the account, so although I'm stopping the beginner series, I am not going to stop playing the account yet. I think that there's still some content that I would like to get done on the account. There is going to be a period of time where I am definitely going to be giving it up. But as of right now, I'm not going to be giving it up right now because I do feel like it allows me to stay connected to the beginner experience. And I feel like there's a lot of information that I can provide and help with. So like I said, although we're stopping the beginner series, we're definitely not going to be stopping the beginner account yet. We're gonna be kind of pushing forward a little bit more. But things that we've accomplished so far. So the biggest thing, we'll start off at the last thing that I just accomplished, which was going through the Doom campaign here. So I went through Doom Chapter 1, and as you can see, we have been able to 3-star the Negasonic node, and this was actually quite a whopper for us, man, because we had to go through multiple times to try to get this done. I didn't like it, but we used the Wave 1 Avengers team, and this was actually the placement and the setup for this. Actually, was this the placement and the setup for this team? I think I may have put Thor in the middle and then put Black Widow over here, but this is the team comp that we use. 218k. Every one of these characters are at gear tier 12 right now. I think I think Cap and Thor are both at level 71. And yes, the ISO, this is what I did with my ISOs. I put Skirmisher on Hawkeye, I put Striker on Black Widow, I put Healer on the other 3 characters, and really it was just for the sustain, just to be able to get through those nodes. Ideally, you want Striker on Thor outside of this comp right here, outside of using him in this campaign node. But overall, we had to do, it was a lot of RNG at times. The last wave is really challenging because you have 2 Psylocks, you have 2 Crossbones, you have 2 Winter Soldiers, and those Winter Soldiers really can kind of clap. Psylocke is clearing the buffs and putting them on your team, so it really kind of got a little bit challenging there. But for the most part, I found that this was the best setup that I could use to get it done. But we were able to complete that content, and we 3-starred the Negasonic node, and now we can start targeting towards getting Doc Ock eventually. We didn't really do that well with the rest of these campaign nodes. We honestly just beat them just so that we can move on. At some point in time, I will want to come back to these nodes because they do have these G14 mini uniques. Those are going to be quite important, right? So we're going to come back to those nodes at a little bit of a different time here. Now for comps that we use to get through this. So here, I use a hero mystic team that consisted of, it'll pop up some point in time. Yep. This is actually the exact team that I use, 199k team, which is probably the reason why we were only able to 1-star it. We use Ghost Rider. We did use Thor again. We used Silver Surfer and Gamora. Really, this was hard carry by these two characters. The rest of these characters died for each one of these particular nodes. When we jump back to the beginning portion of this, the team comp that we used here was, this team as well. So both the Dabros, who you currently see on my arena team right now, Miss Marvel, I did tier 4 her passive. I wouldn't recommend doing it. It was actually helpful, but just from a perspective of tier 4s, you probably want to save that. We use Yo-Yo and we used X23. These three characters really kind of were the ones that hard carried. The Dabros themselves also were really strong, but you know, Raider on X23, Raider on these characters, they're getting that speed up. Yo-Yo helped with the offense downs, and Miss Marvel was actually kind of clutch in some areas. Whenever Yo-Yo would get low, she would taunt, which would be helpful. So, and then of course she's also assisting as well. So the reason why it's tier 4 or passive is because she's assisting on Shatterstar and on X23's attacks, and she's also getting an assist from them as well. So it was just additional damage, but either way I was able to get through that content. Now for the other campaign nodes, we talked about this already, but as a quick recap, the Nexus campaign, we were able to get all the way through the end of the chapter. As a matter of fact, you have to get through all of Nexus in order to even be able to attempt the Doom campaign. So we were able to do it. We did this with a BH 2.0 team, which was very underpowered, which is the reason why we weren't able to 3-star this node. In this section here, we used the Asgardian team. We were only concerned really about 3-starring this node, but we're able to use a full Asgardian team here. Actually, no, I lied. We use 4 Asgardian characters. We use Sif. Let's see if I can pull it up. So we use, no, I lied, y'all. Who I actually use? I'm forgetting who I actually use. So I use Phyla-Vell, Gamora, Hela, Minerva, and Loki to be able to get through the content. That was actually how I was able to do it. And then in the earlier portion of this campaign here, you could use whoever. So I think I just used my strongest characters: Kestrel, Silver Surfer, Symbiote Spider-Man, Ghost, and a few other characters to be able to get it done. For the villains campaign, we've gotten all the way through villains chapter 7-6. I can't really show you the comp that I used right now, but I'll tell you who it was. I used 4 characters. I used Hela, I use Mordo, I use Loki, and I use Juggernaut. Only those 4 characters in order to be able to get that content done. I left the middle empty. I put Hela and Loki on one side. I put Mordo and Juggernaut on the other side. It was a little bit of RNG, but we were able to do it on the second try of it to be able to get it done. All those characters were at level 71 and gear tier 12 with respect actually to Juggernaut, who's at level 65, and I think he's at gear tier 11. That's how I was able to get that done. And then here we had Zemo at gear tier 13. He hard carried with Sinister 6 characters in order to be able to get that done. And then for the Heroes campaign, I know we're going through it all again, but it's just a quick recap. It's a final update. So I wanted to kind of just give you sort of that quick recap here. Heroes chapter 7-1. We use this exact comp that showed up here as well. Miss Marvel, Symbiote Spider-Man hard carried. These other 3 characters died. We just did the first node because that's what you have to do in order to be able to unlock villains chapter 7. So therefore we just did that one particular node. But overall, campaign stuff is all good. We also were able to finish Dark Dimension 2, which I'll show you who I use for Dark Dimension 2. I use Ghost, Symbiote Spider-Man, Silver Surfer, Minerva, and I also use, where's my guy at? Zemo, so mostly I actually, to start off with, I use Kestrel, Silver Surfer, Symbiote Spider-Man, Zemo, and then Minerva. And then later on, I was able to bring in Ghost, and that was where a lot of the one-shots started happening. Using the comp with Ghost, Symbiote Spider-Man, Silver Surfer, Minerva, and Kestrel really was able to one-shot a lot of these nodes, especially the last node. We were really able to control Ultron. We haven't gone through Dark Dimension 2 on the second pass again, but we will be doing that sometime soon. But right now we're kind of just holding off because I just don't have the time to really spend 30 minutes in one node. So that's why we haven't done it yet for a second time. But at some point in time, we definitely will be going into that. And in terms of legendaries, so far we have unlocked legendaries, legendary tag. The legendaries that we have unlocked so far are Invisible Woman, Magneto, Shuri, Iron Man. We've unlocked these 4 legendary characters. We focused pretty early on trying to get these legendaries. But we'll talk about lessons learned in a little bit, and I'll talk about the reason why this wasn't as important to the roster. As a matter of fact, let's just dive into it. So let's talk about the lessons learned on this beginner account so far. What I've learned is that honestly, the legendaries, while it's important to try to target and focus down and get legendaries, some of the legendaries really aren't that as impactful. Or let's say that you can get them easier without specifically target farming them, right? So there's so like Invisible Woman and Shuri, you need Sinister Six characters to unlock them. As a matter of fact, Shuri, you can use Spider-Verse characters to unlock them. They just don't have that much of an impact in the early part of the game. Shuri is used later on. Invisible Woman is used later on. Magneto is still being used right now. I would actually say that Magneto probably had the most impact on my roster because I did use him to complete the Nexus campaign, Nexus Chapter 8. So therefore, he had a little bit more impact on my roster than probably some other characters. But overall, just not as important to target these these legendaries anymore. I think that you're probably, now granted, it's going to take you a while. I want to be honest. It's going to take you a while for you to be able to get to Black Bolt or get to Phoenix or get to Doc Ock, right? You have to get to level 70 for the most part, or buy or spend money on the offers, right? That's one thing that you have to do, that you have to process. I'm playing this account free to play. So therefore I really had to kind of grind to get these shards for these characters. But I just find that you can get these characters organically by just playing the game, by opening up orbs. You can get Electro and you can get Rhino shards. You can get Mysterio, and you can get shards for other characters easier, other than focusing down on these particular legendaries that just don't have as much impact for where you are in the early game. I think that you're better served by trying to target some of these later game legendaries that will have a little bit more impact on your roster. So probably my recommendation is to try to see if you can target down on some of the Asgardian characters that you can use to unlock Black Bolt, and then later on when you get Hela, all you have to focus on is just getting Hela. Same thing with some of these other legendary characters as well. Start looking at the characters that you need to farm to get them earlier. I can make a separate video about this. I don't want to go off on like a massive tangent on this specific portion, because there are other lessons that I would also like to talk about as well. Some other lessons learned is that I did not focus on arena enough, and that has kind of hurt me in the process as well. I really actually just put this team together. It's actually really difficult as an earlier player to focus on getting legendaries, because the problem with this is that arena, while it's important for you to get your arena credits, it's important for you to be able to get those cores. There's so many other things that you have to worry about in the game. You have to worry about your campaigns. You have to worry about your raids. Like, the campaigns actually really take up a lot of your building time, especially if you are free to play. You're really kind of grinding out resources. So arena, while it's important, I didn't focus on it enough. I will say that it's actually quite challenging to focus down on arena, specifically just because of all the other things that you have to get done too in the game. So the best thing that you can do is to try to work on the characters that are going to have impact in various areas of the game, and you kind of piece together arena teams by working on those top tier characters, or characters that you're using for other things, like maybe your raids, like maybe some of your campaigns. You put a little bit more investment into some of those characters, and then you can formulate an arena team. Another thing to pay attention to as well is that when you have new characters that get reworked, or they're introduced new characters that you can get easily, like let's say, for instance, Kestrel was a game changer on my roster, right? Because I was able to get her. She was an event campaign release, fairly easy. Strike Pass, I was able to get Silver Surfer. So when you start to see characters like that are introduced, that are available to you, it is in your best interest to try to make sure that you are investing into those characters, because it can help you not just in various parts of the game, but also your arena and also your raids as well. So lessons learned for me here is not to ignore arena, but maybe not to also focus so much down on it, and keep in mind that you should invest into Nebula, Gamora, invest into characters like that can be helpful in various parts of the game and can also help to boost up your arena team. I hope I'm making sense. If I'm not, just leave it in the comment and ask me what I meant about that. That could be good too. I would also say this too, that one of the lessons that I have also learned is just like how important it is for you to really have a good alliance. I've talked about this in various other videos, but I did not get into a decent alliance early enough in the process of this account. I kind of stayed with like the alliance that they gave you. I didn't pivot from that alliance quick enough, and because of that, it really hurt me with getting things like raid credits. It really hurt me with raid credits. It really hurt me with getting things like T2s and T3s. It also really hurt me with being able to get, you don't think that these are important, but this is one of the biggest like issues that I had with building my roster. It wasn't necessarily that I was running out of T2s or gear, but it was simple things like this. Like right now, because I wasn't getting enough purple gear raid orbs early enough, I'm running out of things like shield tech, like advanced shield tech, not superior shield tech, but advanced shield tech. And it's because I did not pivot and get into a good alliance early enough. And now because I didn't have those orbs to open up, I'm not getting this sort of gear. So therefore I'm kind of a little bit behind, right? It took me a while to be able to build up Shatterstar and Longshot. Part of the reason why it took me so long, yes, I'm playing this casually, but part of the reason why it took me so long to build up Shatterstar and Longshot to do the Doom raids, the Doom campaign, is because I didn't have access to things like Gravitonium, advanced Gravitonium, not superior Gravitonium, but advanced Gravitonium. I did not have enough of that to be able to build up those characters, and that's just purple gear. So really, lessons learned here is not getting into a good alliance early enough. I kind of waited too long, and that's kind of one of the biggest lessons that I've learned here so far. But for the most part, I think we've kind of accomplished what we want to accomplish. Doom campaign, we've gotten through the first chapter. The next steps for me right now on this account is obviously I want to be able to get to level 75 so that I can start tackling down the Doom Chapter 2 campaign. I'm actually not even entirely sure what I'm going to do yet with this. I'm really honestly not sure yet what I'm going to do in terms of team comps. I know that you can use AIM, Wakandan. There's a few other characters that you can use there as well, but I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do yet. But definitely would like to be able to get to level 75. Finishing Dark Dimension 2 again, like for real, like finishing Dark Dimension 2 for the second time, so I can at least get the gear, so I can at least get a 7-star Ultron, so I can at least go attempt Dark Dimension 1. That's probably another thing that I need to do as well. So I'm going to be looking towards that. And also finally, now that I'm able to get through the campaign stuff that I want to get through, now I can start doing this as well. I can start actually investing a little bit more into the new arena meta, so that I can start climbing up in arena and start getting more arena credits, and also getting some more arena those cores that I need as well. And then in terms of farming, I am currently farming hella Loki, obviously to get Black Bolt, but also I'm going to continue to farm him to be able to get Phoenix. I'm farming Nobu right now, Miss Marvel to get Ebony Maw. We're going to start putting in rotation now Negasonic so that we can start getting her going as well. There's a lot of farms that we're definitely going to be paying attention to moving forward. So there's a lot. So like I said, we're going to be keeping the account. I don't know how long I'm going to keep it for. Honestly, it's time consuming. Even though I'm only logging in once a day, but it's very time consuming because of just, you're not, while I'm only logging in once a day, I'm trying to be very strategic about my building and what I am doing and who I'm putting resources into. I'm going relatively tall with the roster build because I am free to play. So there's a lot of play that goes into it. But listen, I hope that you guys enjoyed the series. There's a lot of things that change along the line here. I don't know if I'll do another beginner series anytime soon. I really honestly think that it takes a lot of time to do it. And my time is just a little weird, a little tight right now. But listen, I hope that you guys enjoyed the series. Hope that you guys got some good information from it here. Leave it in the comments. You know, what else you guys would like to see. I can definitely make some updated beginner videos. Doom campaign stuff is going to be coming, but I want to make sure that I at least go through it on my beginner account first before I provide that information, because I feel like having the first-hand knowledge, I could give you information based on what I've done on my main account, but that's not really going to help beginner players at all, or mid-game players, because let's be real, what is a Black Order of 500k Black Order team going to teach you? What is a 500k symbiote team going to teach you to be able to get through some of the Doom raid content, the Doom campaign content? That's just not going to be relevant, right? But listen, appreciate you guys watching the video. Hope you guys like the series, man. We'll definitely continue to make some videos here from the beginner account. Appreciate you guys so much. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe.